Hi, this is Paul on the road, and I'm Paul. I got an email this morning, and it was such a good question that I figured I would talk about it on a video. And let me read it to you. It's from Alex G. Hi, Paul. Love your videos. My wife and I bought a Class C RV a couple of years ago. At times, we don't agree on where or when to RV. I'm considering doing some solo RVing, but wonder about the ins and outs of solo RVing. Thanks. That's a great question, Alex. And what I will say about solo RVing, the biggest hurdle, I can talk about it as it applies to me. I can't speak for anybody else, but the biggest hurdle for me to get over was the loneliness factor. You're away from familiar surroundings. You probably don't know anybody where you're going. So it's totally up to you to get out of the rig and meet people. And to that point, campgrounds are some of the friendliest places on earth. And if people are out and about, they are like 99% chance that they're willing to have a conversation with you. That is not necessarily true in the sticks and bricks world. When I lived in my home in Orange, I lived there for over 30 years, and I knew 3 people on my block that I would call friends. Well, I actually knew a few more by, I'd wave and say hello, but we never really spoke beyond that. But 3 people I was close to. One guy, we had a lot in common as far as we were both car guys, and he had a collection of microcars, and I had my Studebaker, and we would go to car shows together and do all that kind of stuff. And quite frankly, that is the one part of this life that I have had the most trouble letting go of. As you know, if you're a regular viewer of my channel, I really am going to do car show videos eventually, but haven't done them yet. I was actually at a car cruise the other night and met a few people and saw some great cars. I didn't film any of it, but I will. Oops, I got the washing machine going and it's going into spin cycle, so I'm holding the tripod so it doesn't shake too much. But so loneliness was the big one for me to get over. That is, I'd say, number 1. Number 2 is how good are you at repairing little things? If you're going to have to take your rig in for every little thing it needs, you're going to need deep pockets. It's going to get expensive fast. So hopefully you have some skills at making basic repairs. Just know your capabilities and don't get in over your head. Being my profession as a field engineer for Hyundai, I would go to all of the Hyundai dealers in the western region of the U.S. and almost to a dealership, I would hear stories about people that tried to do their own repairs and the car got towed in because it got, beyond their abilities. And so, be honest, know your capabilities and act accordingly. And the last thing for me is eating as a solo, and this is not anything special to RV life. This is just in general. Learning to cook for yourself has been a major challenge for me. Breakfasts, you know that I do smoothies for breakfast, so that's a single serving. But with dinners, it's different. If I make pasta, which I love, you know, I'm eating pasta for 2, 3, 4 days. It's hard to make a single serving of that. So, and I just, you know, I'm not a big eater. I can get, you know, a steak, a ribeye is my favorite cut, and I will only eat half of an average size ribeye for one meal, with the, you know, the asparagus and potatoes, whatever I have with it, and I end up with a leftover piece of steak. But you know, the next morning I might have steak and eggs or something. So, you know, you just try to think ahead about cooking. And again, this is not anything that is directly related to the RV life. This is true if you're living in a sticks and bricks by yourself. So that's not anything special to solo RVing. What else? Yeah, if you, again, let's go back to meeting people. If you're into boondocking, Alex has a Class C, so he has more ability to go out into nature with that than I do with my 35-foot fifth wheel. So and if you do that, if you're going to boondock or dry camp, depending on where you do it, there may not be anybody around, and that may be what you want. So just know yourself is the advice that I would give. When I first started, when I was still solo, I went to what's it called, Badlands in South Dakota, and I was there for 3 nights along the ridge, overlooking, you know, this beautiful scenery of those, I don't even know what you call them, but the Badlands, and that was so peaceful. And my nearest neighbor, you know, I could see them in the distance, but I couldn't hear anything coming from their campground. And I also didn't go, well, let me back up. They were out one day, and I walked down there and chatted with them briefly. But especially if, and this is true in a campground too, if they're inside with the doors closed, that probably is a sign that they don't want to be disturbed. But if they're out, then more than likely they'll have a conversation with you. And so there's that. What else? I guess that's it. So if you have any suggestions, if you're a solo RVer, put your comments below, and let's have a discussion about the ins and outs of solo RVing. And thank you for watching. And if you haven't subscribed already, please hit that subscribe button and that like button. That is what YouTube looks at to determine whether, you know, my channel is worthy of being pushed out to non-subscribers. So you could help me out a lot by hitting the like and subscribe button. And thank you again for watching.